Okay, so you should be in this last chain here. I'm going to work this last chain, inserting my hook, yarning over, pulling through a loop, yarn over, and pulling the yarn through both loops on my hook. From here, we're going to chain one. So in order to chain, again, we're going to yarn over and pull through the one loop on our hook. And now, to get to the next row, we turn our work. Okay? So, if you've worked your row properly, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Kind of not much going, except it kind of resembles a bicycle chain. If you remember those, that's what it looks like to me, this first row. All right, so we've chained one, and we're turning our work, and we're gonna go back in the opposite direction. Now, if you look at the top of what you're holding here, you see we have these V's going across the top. We're going to be working underneath those two loops, these two loops here that form that V. Okay, so we've chained one, and we're gonna go, you see it's like a little hole right here that's gonna put us under this V. Okay, I'm trying to get this without getting in that working yarn is kind of in the way, but without getting too out of focus, you insert your hook into that little hole and it puts you under that V. Okay, so now you have, this is what's on your hook, and you're gonna pull the working yarn through that little hole underneath the V. Okay, you're gonna yarn over and again pull through the two loops. Okay, see the hole right here? You insert the end of your hook in there, it takes you under that V. Okay, we're gonna yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two loops, hook into the hole, okay, underneath the V, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through the two loops. So let's work to the end of this row, and we'll come back and I will show you where a lot of beginner crocheters tend to get a little messed up, okay? Be right back. So now we're back to the end of our second row of single crochet. And you should have something that looks a little bit like this on the side that's facing you right now. Coming to the end of the row, you see here we have this little knot, which was our first beginning where we made our first row starting from our chain. Now here's where it gets a little tricky, as you see, because it kind of disappears into the work, right? And if you look at it from this side, you can see that there's still a V there. So we do need to work this stitch so that we can keep up with our count of having 15 single crochets, okay? So right now we should have 14. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, okay? So we're counting those V's. If you count the top of the V's, there should be 14 of them right now. In order to work this last stitch, you're gonna put your hook in. It's a little hole right there, right by that, what looks like the knot, the side of a knot. And if you stick it in there, now you wanna come around, camera, making sure you get both sides of that V on your hook, okay? And it's a little tricky. Again, those end stitches will be the same. We're going to work one more row together, and so you can see also on a single crochet end how it looks. But there we have our hook underneath the V. So we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops, and we've completed another row. We're going to chain 1, turn our work, and go back the other direction, working in these little holes underneath the V. So we chained 1, we're going right into this first stitch here. We're going to work it, okay? And again, counting based off of the V's on the top, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Coming up on our second to last stitch. And let me just check mine and make sure that I am back at 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And so here you see it looks a little bit different from the stitch on the previous row. It's a little more defined. And as your work gets more substantial, it will be easier to see, but still take great care to always count. I know some people who will use stitch markers to mark the final stitch on the row, and I can most certainly come back and show you what that'll look like. But here we go under the last V here. And we're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop. See, it's through both, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops, chain, and turn your work. So if you're keeping count, we've now worked 3 rows of single crochet. Sometimes with single crochet, it can get a little difficult to count your rows just because the stitches are so close together. And see here, I just pulled out a big loop so I don't go pulling my work out. But if you want to look here, we know that we have completed 3 rows of single crochet, and I'm going to show you a quick little way here to count your rows. So you see here we have this sort of a inverted V here, right here. So that's 1 row, what it would look like. And because you end up with a front and back side, the stitches do look different on the opposite sides. So here, oh, that was a good close-up here. So we have here, you have a, okay, but it doesn't like the hook, so we'll try my finger again. Have a knot, sort of a knot and an inverted V here. And then on this side, you see the stitches are closer together and it's more of a right side up V, so that's 2. And then again, the bottom row now, it's like a little knot and an inverted V right here, okay? So those are your 3 rows. And if you want to create a piece that's similar to my first finished swatch, you would want to continue working 12 more rows until you get to 15. And when you get to the end of that square, I will show you how to finish off a piece, or how I finish off a piece, and then I can show you how to weave in the ends on this square. All right, so take some time, finish your square up, and then we can come back. So we've come to the end of our square. We've worked 15 rows, and we're ready to finish off our work. What I do is, let me pull this last stitch out. And typically now what I do here is I'm going to work my last single crochet. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. And basically I chain one, and on that last chain I've cut away my yarn from the ball, and I've left about 5 or 6 inches of tail or so here, and I chain the one and then I just pull the loop out. You can give that a little tug, and that ends off your work. Okay, so that's it. We have now learned how to create a slip knot, how to chain, and how to work single crochets into that chain. You have also learned how to end off a piece of work. If you like what you see here, I encourage you to not just like the video, but also subscribe to my channel. I have so much more to share with you all. In the next video, we are going to learn how to work double crochet and also discuss a little bit of pattern reading for those of you who are like me and just want to jump into making all the things. I will give you some tips for understanding some patterns and even share some of my favorite designers. I feel their patterns are very well written and easy to understand for crafters of all levels. So that's it for today. Again, my name is Nia and you're watching the Crochet Cove. Thanks for tuning in.